Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this edition of the Manifest Destiny. With me tonight, of course, is Meg Moonbeam. You can find her work here at MaisonJupiter.com and also on YouTube at Maison Jupiter. Meg, welcome back. How are you today?
I'm good. How's it going?
I'm excited to have you on.
Yes.
We had such an amazing show the last time you were here, and a lot has been happening in our world, Meg. And I think
Hmm.
some people are manifesting correctly, and perhaps some of us might need to take responsibility for other manifestations. Why did I start like that with the
Yeah.
intro, Meg? I don't know. What are
Yeah.
you thinking about?
Yeah. We need to own our shit
We
for
need
real.
to own our shit for real.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here tonight on this live interactive show. I'll take your comments and love on the screen, as always. I appreciate that. And of course, if we have time later on in the show, we'll also get some questions and maybe Meg will pull cards for you guys. Who knows? Meg, before as people start logging in here to this live stream, I wanted to first of all congratulate you on your last show on Maison Jupiter about the Astro Decode with Julie.
Hmm.
So for the audience members who haven't seen that, you talked about the predictions here for 2023. What are the big takeaways there? Of course, we encourage people to go watch the show, but what did you take away
Hmm.
from that episode?
Oh my goodness. I think that, like Julie and I were talking about, this is going to go down as a historical year,
Mm,
2023, and a historical few years coming up. And there's just so much going on. And I'm noticing a lot more people looking to the astrology for confirmation and
mm,
for comfort. So that was one of my really big takeaways, is that it's resonating. And I could see in the chat things we were saying, it was resonating with people.
yeah.
And it's going to become more and more important, the
Yeah.
astrology.
Echo, it says, another live stream today, JC. You're crushing it. Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm on fumes, but it is a big production week for sure. Thank you. Thank you for noticing, Hank. I've been working really hard. Speaking of the Astro Code, Decode, sorry, you have another one coming up here. I'm excited for
Hmm.
this one too, especially because Valentine's is just around the corner here. So the next one is on February 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern. Compatible
Yeah.
relationships. How are you guys going to tackle this one?
Oh my God. That's a really good question, because in astrology, there's so many ways to look at compatible relationships, what are our most compatible signs, and not just sun signs. That's where people maybe have an assumption in astrology that it's just based off sun signs, how to
Mhm.
tell what are the best compatible relationships, but it's really so many different aspects, like your sun sign, Venus sign, planet of love, Mars sign, planet of our masculine energy and sexual drive, and so many other things. It'll be a fun show getting into that.
Say that again.
Sexual drive.
But did I hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is going to be a Valentine's show, guys. So go check it out. Of course, February 1st here, leading up for the month. And you know what's interesting there too? Even though, yes, it is Valentine's month, if you want to put it that way, what was interesting in the Astro Woo, the different zodiac signs we went through just yesterday, we recorded all of these, are ready for you guys now on beyondmystic.net. So you can pick and choose there either your sun sign or your rising sign here moving forward to navigate February. But it seems that the big part of it, at least the first part of it, was indeed putting a focus on our relationships, where the end of a month seems to enter us into a new period of time. And you've discussed this before, that you were picking up in the cards that end of February would start unveiling perhaps what March is going to look like. And the last time you were on the show,
Mhm.
you said, February, January, February, probably the last kind of months of normalcy,
Mhm.
if we can call them
Yes.
that, until we
Yeah.
get into March. Let's just do a quick pulse on that. Where are you still on how this is going to unfold for February? Let's look at maybe the main energies here, and then maybe forecast into March also.
Mhm. So it's interesting because we're already starting to get this Aquarian activation now that we're in Aquarius season. The sun is in Aquarius. We just had that new moon in Aquarius, and Saturn, who I like to call Granddaddy Saturn to lighten him up, he's in his last degrees of Aquarius now until March, when he goes into Pisces. And that's also when we've been talking so much about Pluto goes into Aquarius. So it's really, we're already getting activated into the Aquarian age of Aquarius. And we're going to be seeing that on the outside world. So really big changes are going to start, but it's going to be like a huge sucker punch, if you will, in March when it's going to start.
Oh no.
Oh
Because
no.
we need another sucker punch, as if we haven't had enough here in the last number of years.
Yeah.
Six Fairy Light says, I need JC's energy level. Okay. No, don't take mine. I need mine. I need all my energy for all of these shows. Well, talking about, yes, going into Aquarius, but just as we're leading into that, Meg, what's interesting also is this concept of Pluto kind of messing things up for a lot of us, but mostly for the cabal here. And of course, I'm not supposed to say that word, but we just did this show with Gosha from Cosmic Agency a couple of days ago. And guys, if you haven't seen it, please do go check it out. It was interesting to look at astrology from an off-world perspective. And they also confirmed what Meg was pulling in the cards when we had our staff retreat in December, that the reason Pluto had been demoted was because it's not really good for the bad guys running the show right now, and they don't want us to be focusing on Pluto. So it was really exciting to see the off-world point of view on that. So go check it out if you haven't seen that episode. And to add to that, earlier today, really amazing show again with Jay Weidner. This was the Nostradamus and the Vortex of Time show with Julie also. And we again talked about this Pluto here creating havoc for those old structures. Can we spend a few minutes here, Meg, and talk about how you see Pluto, maybe, yes, ushering the age of Aquarius, but before we get there, we kind of have to dismantle the old stuff also.
Yeah, totally. Pluto is the planet in astrology that rules Scorpio, and we discovered him in the 1920s. So this is a pretty new planetary body we've been working with. He is all about detoxification and transformation and cleansing and power and empowerment. Empowerment through doing the shadow work, through being authentic. Not empowerment from like what, the dark side, the bad guys are doing, which is control and manipulation. That's the dark side of Scorpio and Pluto. Right. And I'm a Scorpio sun, so I know, okay, we can be very good manipulators. We can be very good controllers in the dark side. But in the light side, it's doing the shadow work to get out of that place and empowering others to do the shadow work to get out of that place, to be in a place of real authentic empowerment. And when you're in authentic empowerment, other people want to be empowered as well in a positive way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. They really don't want us to be focusing on Pluto. And anything having to do with Scorpio and the things that Scorpio rules in astrology, they're trying to demonize. And we can even see in spirituality and kind of the new age through, some people and groups that are plants, that doing shadow work or talking authentically or even being a freedom lover is negative. And you shouldn't do that because it's negative. It's not positive, right? That's a whole program from the dark side.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of like we're all being entrained and mind washed into this idea of creating our own prison. And that, of course, is what they want us to continue to do and not focus on empowering ourselves, because that completely destroys this matrix of control that they've been perpetuating on us.
Right.
Or some would say we've been perpetuating on ourselves. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show, because we do have to own our shit. And I know it's not always popular to do that. And some people say, no, it wasn't me. Well, we do all have some part of the responsibility there. Carla for Ascension Organite is here in the chat. She says, yeah, we all love Pluto energy now that we've seen and understood Gosha's show. That was really, really cool. And Julie, a big thank you to Julie also for all the research she put into that show. Is absolutely amazing. Speaking of amazing shows, Meg, also, you're on your second or third weekly already of the Beyond Astro Weekly Forecast. I thought this show was really cool for one reason. Well, first of all, I love everything you put out, but you really had that Joan Jett look in this particular episode. Like, oh man, because everybody was saying in the chat, hey man, Meg's rocking it. I'm like, yeah, in more ways than one.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I was debating whether or not I should wear my Joan Jett shirt today, but then I thought maybe we'd laugh too much or something.
It would have been hilarious. Okay, well, next time maybe we'll have you break out the guitar and play a song or something.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Let's get into the current energies here of the month. Let's also look at some of the points that Sophie was making in her Beyond Tarot earlier this week about the blank canvas in front of us, a responsibility here to work together to manifest our reality, as the show suggests here, in our destiny. What do you feel the energies are right now? A lot of people are still having some of the jitteriness right now, even though it's supposed to be a calm month. We're still kind of reeling, I guess, for the last two retrogrades, the Mars one and the Mercury one. What are the energies right now? How do you see it? And what are you seeing right now while you're doing the one-on-one astrology readings with our clients?
So I'll start there because that's relates. Everyone wants to be in alignment with the higher timeline, with the collective, with what is the highest available path for all of us. And sorry, what question did you ask me? I just had a brain fart.
Well, speaking of weird energies.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm the one on the third show today.
I've been doing a lot of consultations.
Don't worry. I know you were back to back today with consultations.
You're asking about the current energies.
Well, current energies, as you're viewing it from your one-on-one consultations right now, how are people, manifesting some of these alignments right now, and some of the turmoil that's happening in and around us right now too? How are people living that right now from your perspective?
Right. Yeah. Okay. I remember what I was going to say now. People want to be in alignment. It's very much a focus. And right now, I believe we're in this kind of interesting, trippy in-between time. We're like in between realms. We're in between worlds. We're in between the old earth and the new earth. We're in an in-between time, which spiritually can be a little bit chaotic, because there's not really a foundation when you're in an in-between space, kind of like what we talked about last episode with the Shadowlands, and in a little bit of a no man's land. Right. So when we're in an in-between time, we can utilize that energy of a little bit of chaos, which there is, to manifest. To choose. We're really in a space, and Sophie talked about this so eloquently on the Divine Feminine Oracle show about how nothing's really set in stone, right? So we can really consciously choose, do we really want to go into this new earth frequency and that timeline, or do we want to kind of stay with the one we're on? Which I think if you're watching this show, you don't want to stay on that. If you're here, you're like, yeah, definitely not going for that. So it's definitely in between transition time that we're not going to have this again ever in our lives this next 2 months. And I know we're like in the end of January, which has gone by so fast. Have you felt that too?
Yeah. Well, so much has happened already in the last couple of weeks. It's hard to keep up even here with the slide deck. It's just been absolutely crazy. Jay Weiner was saying too, he says, it's astonishing how much has come out already in the last 6 weeks. And in earnest, it's just the beginning. And if we're looking at some of the WebBot data trends too, again, it's just the beginning of this big ugly, or the big unveiling. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So we can make the best of it. It doesn't have to be difficult. I really believe that, and I've been feeling that. And I learned my lesson this past week, which we're going to talk about, something that I experienced. We really need to be conscious of what we are attracting, what we're feeding. Because in this in-between time, anything we put our energy towards is going to instantly manifest.
Yeah, and that brings with it a lot of responsibility, more so than perhaps we've ever felt in our lives before. And there's an adjustment period to all of that responsibility, or the weight of that responsibility, or the understanding of the weight of that responsibility. The more you look back, the more you realize, oh, okay, I am responsible here. And we'll get into one of the videos by Doreen Gaudin here in a moment. Jamie says, Beyond Mystic is the best place for news and truths. JCTV is where it's at. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Nadia says, I know, JC, I've been with you all day. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Speaking of that video yesterday with Sophie, she made a lot of good points, but I'm curious to have your your take on Grandma Julie here. I don't know if you watched the
Grandma,
episode that you said.
how did this Grandma Julie joke start? Because I don't understand.
It started with Julie at the beginning. No, it started with Sophie at the beginning of the show. Somebody commented on the beautiful blue sweater, and Sophie says, "Oh yeah, that's her grandma sweater," or something like that. And everybody's like, "Whoa, that's not a grandma."
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard trying to put
Oh
the
my
two
God.
words together through the night. Grandma
Yeah, like the
Julie.
total opposite of a grandma.
Yeah. And then a few people corrected course and they said it's a hot, sexy grandma. So I'm like, okay, a little bit better, but still
Oh
it
my
doesn't
God.
work. Anyways, we had a lot of fun. If you guys thought that was funny, first of all, let us know in the chat what you thought about
Yeah.
that. And if you haven't seen the episode, go check it out. We always have a lot of fun on the Divine Feminine Oracle show. We have a great
Mhm.
rapport, the three of us, and it's really cool to look at sometimes some of these more difficult topics with each other. So this idea of being in alignment, you were saying for the audience members, uh, what would be the challenge right now that they're bringing forward, or what's the challenge that you see in some of their charts right now? And I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to that. And if we have a conversation about those challenges, maybe we can all help each other collectively surmount them or surpass them, maybe easier and faster here, because we're all going to be called to be all hands on deck here to create. But before we do that, as the Taoists say, you don't put clean water in a dirty glass. So we have to do that internal work first before we start manifesting. Otherwise, we'll be manifesting with a lot of polluted water, so to speak. What would you say is the challenge right now?
I'm really feeling when you say that, my energy's getting brought up to go up into the higher perspective. And then I was like, oh, yeah, this is about the great ages. It's not so much our personal astrology. We're in this in between time of exiting the age of Pisces, 2,000 years, to entering the age of Aquarius, a new 2,000 years. And we need to be there for each other in letting go of the programs from the age of Pisces, which has been the time frame that a certain group came in, swooped in, and got control and have been putting all these programs on us for over 2,000 years. So this is not just us, it's our ancestors, it's ancestral programming, it's collective programming, it's our own stuff. And we're going through this huge cleansing time of deprogramming, really, before entering into the age of Aquarius.
Just curious as to what your thoughts are. Would you describe that more as quote unquote an archonic invasion? Do you peg it more towards the reptilians? Where do you put that in your nomenclature? How do you explain that to people here who are just kind of new to all this?
Yeah. So I do believe in reptilians, and I do really resonate with, I've been lately getting a little bit into Rudolf Steiner's work. I'm not super into it yet, but just kind of dipping my toes in because it does really resonate, and it's been calling out synchronistically to me lately. And he describes in his work something that really resonates with me, that there's this, what he calls Luciferian impulse. And I think, if I can remember the word correctly, Ahrimanic impulse. And that those are the two things that we've really been controlled over during this age of Pisces. If we bring it into the astrology, which the reptilians tie into that, the grays tie into that, any other groups, they fall under like an Ahrimanic category, which is those that want to bring us into transhumanism and total control. The Ahrimanic frequency, from what I understand so far, is to control us, to just have total, like, kind of Dr. Evil control over us, which they want to do through transhumanism. And then the Luciferian impulse is all the energies that try to distract us, that try to keep us in a low vibe. So like drugs that don't serve us, over alcohol consumption, like anything to an excess would be the Luciferian impulse that throws off our energy. So that's something that, I'm just dipping my toes in, but it does really resonate with me how Rudolf Steiner explains it. And personally, from my own journeys and own inner work, I do really believe that there are, reptilians here right now that are part of this.
And following on Steiner's work, he had a quote, something to the effect that eventually humanity will inoculate itself against its spirituality or its higher self.
Yeah.
And watching the language here, though, but do you think that that's exactly part of what was happening in the last 2 years? There's a lot of
Yeah.
agendas attached to the products that were distributed, but is that one of them? Like that inoculation against their spirituality or connections to our higher self or to God, so to speak? What do you think?
Yeah, I do believe that 100%. And I think that they're trying to throw things at us now because they are starving energetically. They're not coming into the new earth frequency. So they're desperate and they're starving energetically and they're trying to throw these different things to try to manipulate and control. But the truth is, in the greater astrological cycle that we're in, the great age cycle of entering into Aquarius, which is the start of a 12,000 year light age. I have a really good graph that next time we'll do the show, I'll show you guys so you can see the picture of the great ages. It's really
How about
cool.
the Yugas?
No,
No.
it's different than the Yugas, but
Okay.
it ties into that same sort of
Okay.
teachings. So that
Cool.
that could be cool for us to look at next time.
Sure, for sure.
But yeah, it's through the inoculations, through maybe, there's so many different things that they're going to try to throw at us, possibly throw at us. And this ties back to the amazing point that Sophie made the other day, that we're creating our reality.
Right.
So if we need to, and this is something else we're going to talk about, detach from them even more than we already have, because it's all dark arts. In my opinion, there's so much dark arts being thrown our way to try to get us to keep feeding something them that is starving. So if we were all to detach, it would stop. Right?
Did we say that on the show, you and I think it was, where we said, hey, imagine if we just shut off the tap for one day
Right.
collectively on the planet, we
Yeah.
would completely starve them.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, that's interesting. And also the idea of manifesting before us here. Where do you use the I don't know if it's a mental exercise or a based exercise, but when you have that impulse to create right now, where do you stop and look and feel and understand, hold on a second, why am I being driven to create that? Is that out of necessity? Is that out of my highest good? Or is that out of an old fucking program that no longer serves me, that is trying to keep me in the old box that I've worked really hard to get out of all of this time? And maybe I'm being duped into creating a new box here, better, shinier, but still nonetheless another box. How do you navigate that? What would you say to the audience?
I would say the number one thing for that is shadow work of some kind. And there's many different kinds of shadow work that we can do, because the truth is, on this planet, we are living in duality. We are living in the dance of light and dark playing itself out. And when we don't recognize our wounds, our shadow side, we are just going to be playing that out. Like what Doreen said in that video, she explained it so eloquently. So we need to know thyself. Who was it that said that? Know thyself. You know that saying?
It was above the Oracle of Delphi, also in Greece.
Yeah.
So it's one of those Greek philosophers.
Greek philosophers. Yeah. When we know thyself, when we know our strengths.
Could be Plato.
Maybe Plato. Yeah. When we know our strengths, when we know our weaknesses and our wounds, then it's so much easier when something comes up for possible creation for us to go, because your ego will tell you, okay, yeah, I want that for fame, or I want that for power, or I want that to be of service. I want that for, you'll be able to feel it out. It's about self-awareness. And that's a program that has been put upon our spiritual community, that shadow work is bad. And particularly shamanism is bad and paganism is bad, because a really big focus in those systems is shadow work and intense ceremonies for cleansing, right?
And well, anything that would empower you or bring, similar to the logo of the Torii Gate here, is the delineation between the mundane and the sacred knowledge, right? And so anything that brings non-local information or information that is brought from other realms or spiritual realms is deemed bad, whether that's the tarot, the astro, everything else.
Right.
Like, no, you can't touch that. Listen to us to get your reality. We know best for you, including our religions. They've been telling that for a long time. Who did I say it was? Anyways, it was Socrates.
Socrates, yeah.
Socrates, Socrates.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the quote you guys were looking for. Wow, fascinating. Okay, so I think that's good. I like the way you're going at this, because I think if we all did that collectively right now, and we really stop to think about what we're creating, even if it looks like we're behind the 8 ball right now, we're rushing to get this new world started, or we're rushing to take advantage of this chaos right now so that the baddies don't take control of the planet again. We're excited to get started, but maybe we really need to step back and relax a little bit so that we can jump, or maybe even leap forward very soon. So that goes back into this idea of doing the shadow work there.
Yeah.
Where do I want it to go with this? There's a couple of directions here. Let me, okay. We talked about the Taoist concept there of not putting clean water in a dirty glass. Part of that shadow work and knowing thyself is also the meditation. And I know for a lot of people, meditation doesn't necessarily come easy, and we all have different ways to approach it. And so we've got this new experiment, I guess, that Julie has created here on MaisonJupiter.com, where we're trying to bring a bunch of people together here to focus on exactly that, going inside. And this particular full moon singing bowl activation here with Elena and Janine, we're going to be focusing on the solar plexus and the heart chakra. And I think that's interesting because the solar plexus deals with that creativity, and the heart chakra, of course, talks about coming at it from the heart. The heart knows best. If you look at John Velo Melchizedek's work, he talks about how somewhere in there, in the little portion of the heart, there's a map of your soul mission there. And if you really listen to that part, you can't go wrong when you're manifesting. Although when you're manifesting up here, you're manifesting from 2 hemispheres. So even though you might be thinking of something good, you're also creating the duality of that. Whereas when you're manifesting from your heart space, you're manifesting from the 0 point energy. Anyways, go check out his book, The Flower of Life, talks about this in a couple of his seminars. But this is what we're trying to achieve here with these new live meditations. We're going to have the first one tomorrow, Friday. We're going to do these weekly smaller meditations free on YouTube to get people used to using those muscles together. And then, of course, these big ones here you can find on Maison Jupiter's website. What do you think about these meditations, the power of them, the power of bringing this type of group together also that are usually in the Beyond Mystic audience, and how we can maybe achieve what we were looking for here, going to create in front of that canvas while before that, taking that first step of, cleaning our brushes, so to speak, and making sure our paints are all in order before we really attack that tableau with what we want and desire for humanity. What would you say?
I think there's no coincidence that Elena and Janine and you guys are going to be starting this at this time, because this is what is going to change the world. When we come together and we do this work, when we share space, when we meditate, or when we sing, or when we get together in person, this is what's going to change the world. Focusing our intentions on a collective mission. It's going to change the world. I think these new meditation offerings are so powerful. And I think it was through maybe Dolores Cannon's work, or I've seen this a couple places, where supposedly each one of us, where we're resonating at, so if we're in a conscious state, or in a spiritually awakened state, or in a high vibration, we affect 32,000 humans.
Wow.
And I think it was Dolores Cannon, but there's also someone else who says something to that effect. And that really resonates with me. So I'm not sure how many people are going to show up. Probably many people, because the Beyond Mystic family has gotten very large. That's going to change the world.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm even more excited about this. Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Let me just bring up the poster for tomorrow, guys. This is what you're looking for tomorrow at noon. It's on the Beyond and Mystic YouTube channel now. Yeah, it's starting at noon tomorrow, and these are the mini meditations. Although this one is a little bit longer. It's her introductory show. She's going to explain how she's using her bowls and setting up the intentions, the candles, the incense, and all that. Really, really, really cool. So, guys, check that out tomorrow at noon here on YouTube. And if you're interested in that main meditation coming up on February 1st, you can find that here on MaisonJeanClaude.com. And what's going to be cool there too, Janine, of course, is joining us for this meditation. She's also going to be helping and setting the intentions, pulling cards, the tarot cards here to understand from universe how and what impact we can bring together in this beautiful community. It is on a sliding scale donation a system, so you guys can choose what best exchange of energy works for you. And if you look at the video at the bottom of the page, Julie explains that here. And yeah, please do so sooner than later, because the last time we did big shows like this, we kind of had some server issues. So I don't want to have to reduce or throttle back the number of seats available for this meditation. I want everybody who wants to be in it to be there, but maybe do it sooner than later in terms of your registration. Let me bring the link down in the live chat for you guys here. And Connie says, hey, very grateful. Yeah, no, it's going to be really cool. And I love the fact that we can also do them on a weekly basis. And the idea with the weekly ones, just so you know, Elena is going to work at, you know how you guys are doing, between you doing the Astro on Wednesday, Solred is doing the Oracle forecast on Tuesday, and Sophie's doing the Tarot forecast on Monday. It's kind of like that trinity of forecasting from the divine feminine points of view. Whereas with Elena on Friday, she's going to be helping people clear the energies of the week, whether that's the bad boss or the bad relationship, etc., setting your intention and propelling that healing emotion and intention throughout the weekend. So that's why we put them on Friday afternoons for you guys. So go check it out. Really, really, really excited to put all of this new content up for you guys.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this a little bit here. In part of the WebBot data reports too, there's two things I want to talk about first.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring this one here. So there's the event that happened in Hamilton where Trudeau was out there with his cabinet. I'll get into that. Mm-hmm. But there's also this idea right now that's coming out that perhaps I'm going to say the unwilling here for the show on YouTube, that the unwilling are to blame here. And so we're starting to see the energy where some of the people who are just waking up now have a lot of fear, and that fear is translating into anger, which is then translated into misdirected anger. And in this particular meme or post or energy that is making the rounds right now, this misdirected anger is going at the unwilling because ostensibly they weren't loud enough or convincing enough to help the people here who might have made mistakes over the last 2 years. This is very difficult, a very difficult subject to go through here. And I wanted to have your take on this because, in my view, if we have responsible conversations about this, we can help a lot of the audience members who might find themselves in that position where there's anger directed at them for not being vocal enough, or as you know, that sounds ridiculous as it is. But that being said, I want to make sure our audience members navigate this as safely as possible here as this energy transmutes and eventually hits the target on the root cause of this. And we'll get into the root cause of this when we play the Doreen Dotan video in a second. Mm-hmm. So first of all, what do you make of this energy just coming up now? Is this matrix related? Is it created by the matrix, or is it really human fear right now that is generating this anger and this misdirected anger? Your first thoughts on that, and then let's talk about how to mitigate that.
Yeah, I definitely feel it's a matrix program. This whole thing has been a matrix program, but the truth is we are human. And we have human emotions, and we are not perfect. And that's the beauty of being human. And part of being human is we have our inner child, we have our ego, these aspects of ourselves that don't want to take responsibility for ourselves, right? And that's why it's so important. We were talking earlier today about we need to call each other out during these times and be honest with each other, because to create a beautiful new earth, new world, it has to be based on self-responsibility as well as collective responsibility. But it's not our fault that people could not tell that was not good for them.
Mm.
That is not our fault.
Mhm.
And the truth is, a lot of us did warn them. Okay. And even if you didn't, I still don't think that that's your fault. It's not your responsibility. It's something that we've been programmed out of is common sense,
Mhm.
right? So it's common sense that you can't yell at someone for taking something that you didn't even look at the ingredients of.
Well, at a certain
Right?
point, you have to own your own shit. You started the
Yeah.
show saying that, and of course, we're leading into this. But this whole idea of it's not your fault. I wanted to read this quote here from Cliff High. He posted this. He's back on Twitter, by the way, just rejuvenated or resuscitated, or whatever way you want to put it. But he says all of those V people saying that. Why didn't the UNV do more to warn us? I need to really look at the former Twitter admin, Facebook, social media, and the Biden regime and the big pharma corporations, Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, and so forth, who had the vocal UNV kicked off of all of this social media. So not only were we kicked off, silenced, we lost our jobs, we weren't invited to Christmas parties because our government official told the V people not to invite us. They were making it absolutely impossible for us to share this information, even though
Exactly.
a lot of us were screaming it from the rooftops.
Mhm.
So I hope this message comes across here, and it's the absolutely contrary to the I told you so frequency. What I'm trying to share here with the audience members is we're all responsible and we all should have compassion for each other. And now that we're getting on page together, this is the critical point for humanity. They would rather see us fight, the V and UNV, and put all this blame in the wrong place, as opposed to putting it in the right place and dealing with that specifically here, which is part of the reasoning before the show. Anything else you want to share on that? Go ahead.
Yeah. It just occurred to me as you were talking that it feels like whoever wrote that article, whether they're aware of it or not, that's actually the Ahrimanic force trying to come in to divide us. Because what that article could make us do, people like us, is go, well, actually, what about us? Why weren't you there for me when I couldn't, in my situation, I couldn't get back into Canada for 2 years living in Belgium, right? So it's like, why weren't you there for me? Why didn't you stand up for me? This is all to create division. And that's part of the matrix programming we need to cut out from at this time. It's all to feed, those guys.
Okay, I think that's probably the most we can go on here on YouTube, but I think you guys can understand. And if you haven't done so already, go check out those 2 articles, share them on your social media, not as a aha, I told you so, but maybe as an olive branch to try to cool down these energies and to come together as humans. I mean, that's the whole point right now. And that's what they've been trying to avoid for 3 years with all of this social distancing. And it is because when we come together, we create this scalar effect. And when we have this scalar effect, we can manifest a lot faster. And they're worried about that. They don't want us to manifest our destiny here. They want us to continue manifesting their system of control. And when I say they, I also mean us. Don't be confused. We'll get to that in a second. Can't get enough of Meg. She's on fire. What a team. Thank you both. Says Debbie. Appreciate that, Debbie. And love to talk. Jean-Claude, where can I find the Elena 21 sign up? Okay, let me bring that back up on the screen. That, guys, is on Maison Jupiter's website. It's a product offered by Julie there and her team. So that's maisonjupiter.com. I'll put the link to this sign up here in the description box below after the video. But let me bring that down into the live chat as well. So you guys can click on it live during the show if you want to. Okay. Big thank you. And yeah, Cheryl says, yeah, spot on, Meg. Faith over fear. Yeah, big time, big time.
You know what one thing we can do is when those things come up, if a family member or a friend or someone says, in a very angry way or whatever, why didn't you tell me? We can just right there, and I know it's hard sometimes because there's so much emotions involved, but if we can train ourselves to go, like, actually maybe do some sort of position, and this is going to relate to that dream I told you I'm going to share that I had. Do some sort of body position to bring us into center. So maybe going like with your hands, connecting to your heart, or putting your hand on your solar plexus or your sacral, connecting to your emotion or your confidence, and just saying, I will not engage in division. We have had different experiences, and you can say this in your own words, but just along the lines of, I will not engage in division. I want to be united. We may have different sets of opinion, but I'm not going to argue about this with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do more shutting down of the divisive dark arts propaganda, actually, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Put a big fire hose on that fire. Yeah, exactly. Stop it in its tracks, and I think
Yeah.
that's a great practice. Maybe take a deep breath too. My mom used to tell me when I was a kid. I don't know if it translates well, but it's like you're supposed to
Yeah.
turn your tongue 7 times before you speak. Like, give you time to really think. Because if you told me that in the streets, that it's my fault, and somebody just said something earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. In that Cliff High tweet or comment, let me see if I can bring it back up here. The gentleman here in the chat, it went up too fast. He said, yeah, but he forgot also we were ostracized, we were bullied,
Yeah.
we weren't able to participate in society, we were made fun of. Yeah, we it's been a rough road. And so
Yeah.
to suggest that all of this was our fault, when in a lot of cases we suffered a great deal, might create some anger in some people. My first reaction would be to say, are you effing kidding me? So I would have to abide by my own advice here and slow down a little bit before I responded to that. But yeah, again, compassion, I think, is key there. But I'm already seeing it, though. I'm already starting to see it. But at the same time, there's still a lot of anger that's coming, and I think more is coming. If you look at the Web of Data reports, they're suggesting that some vengeance was happening already, and there's already videos of that on the dark web that has not percolated up here on our main web. So maybe we'll see more of that. Hopefully not, but that is going to be part of humanity dealing with this big scar here moving forward. So why don't we get into that here? You talked about this. Well, let's get into the experience then. So we did that. So let me put on the Trudeau. Let me see if I can play this without the sound here to show the audience members. Yeah, so this was also predicted maybe a year or two ago, something to the effects that at some point they couldn't walk the streets anymore. So we're here now. We're already there. We've been here for months. Everywhere he goes, we're seeing this, but it's getting worse and worse and worse now. What was your experience? What do you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I was there that evening, and oh my gosh, there's so much I can share, but one of the most important things I can share is that was the darkest energy I've ever felt in my life. Being so close to Justin, but it was not only him, it was that his whole liberal cabinet or party, whatever the right word is. So all of those people that have sold Canada out, basically, to the dark side. And not that they're going to win, but they've sold themselves out. And there was like 20 of them altogether. It was so dark. I felt affected by it ever since today, actually. And that was what, Tuesday night, Monday night that happened?
What are we today?
Today's Thursday.
So yeah, that was Tuesday night. Night.
So that just, we already know that all this stuff is real, but if I needed any physical confirmation, that was my confirmation. That to the point where I almost needed to throw up while being there. It was so bad. So what came up for me was there was a lot of anger.
Well, first of all, don't go too fast.
Yeah.
Some people might say, "Oh, you're just a rebel rouser. You're up to no good. You want to cause trouble." Why were you wanting to go there? What is it you wanted to accomplish? Start there, because for a lot of people too, they might have had that same intention as you, and then realize that perhaps it might have not have been the right approach, but for different reasons. Why did you want to go there? Start there first.
So I am a freedom lover. I think like many of you guys in this community will resonate with those words: freedom fighter, freedom lover. And ever since really the beginning of the pandemic, I've gone to freedom events. And every single one I've ever been to was super uplifting, because it was just us. It was just our family, our soul family, like-minded people all together, which raises the energy. And I don't think there's any problem with getting together, in a conscious freedom rally or gathering. But this was different. This
Oh, by the
was
way, that's our constitutional right to assemble, by the way. So
totally,
just to,
yeah,
just to put that out there, just to make sure,
yeah.
Okay.
So, but this was completely different because, Justin Castro and Christia, and it's all those people. So
Mm,
this is not like a normal freedom rally.
mm,
So my intention with it was, I'm a Scorpio and I'm attracted to the intense situations of life and really experiencing things intensely. And I wanted to see this guy in person. That was my intention. I wanted to see him in person. I wanted to see these people in person. I wanted to see how I felt and also be around the vibration of that freedom, our freedom family.
mhm,
What it was uh, a lot of people really angry, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It was a natural emotion, but attaching to their energy and
mm,
actually feeding them because this is what they feed off of.
mm.
The dark arts feeds off our anger, feeds off our anxiety, feeds off our frustration, feeds off our fear, right? When it's actually more powerful than maybe instead of going to the restaurant where he's at and yelling, F Trudeau, F Christia, all this stuff,
Right,
we can be having our own event,
right.
another event, and doing something else and focusing the energy in another way.
Mhm.
So I sent JC a video when I got home that I'm not going to be sharing online that where you could hear my voice, you could hear other people's
Well,
voice.
I wasn't supposed to post that. I sent it through the MailChimp notification yesterday. Just
Yeah.
messing with you.
Um, and also it's a video where so everybody got together outside of the restaurant
Mm,
where they were all having dinner. And then it was a whole dark arts trickery because they made up like this whole movie scene situation behind the restaurant that he was going to be coming out from there when actually he came out from the front. And to me, that was like not just a physical thing, it was a representation of how these people work
mm.
because there were police officers pretending that they're going to come out from the back and all
Yeah.
these people playing pretend. So anyways, they came out from the front and some people saw them and that's that video you see yelling at them, and then they went in through the Hamilton, there's like a inside walkway mall to get
Mhm.
to the Sheraton Hotel.
Yeah.
Then we went to the Sheraton Hotel and I'd never seen anything like it. Doors almost broke of the Sheraton Hotel. People did not care that there was tons of police officers, bodyguards. They were banging on the Sheraton windows, doors to the point where they almost broke. And I think that we were being protected, that they didn't break, because if they did break, that would have been a really
Yeah.
bad scene.
Yeah.
So we were being protected. But yeah, really big takeaway for me is that I don't want to feed them with my anger, with my, wounds from the past
Mhm.
3 years. I wanna work on that myself
Mhm.
and transmute that into a new creative energy to create something beautiful and, the new world, so
And okay, so let me bring this video up again here. Um, and now I heard a different. I saw the one you sent me
Mhm.
also, and I saw quite a few different clips on YouTube. Um, and this is not so from my perspective. Also, it was very different energies altogether than this
Yeah,
because I spent 2 weeks
yeah.
reporting here in Ottawa last year, almost exactly a year ago now, and for all intents and purposes, I mean, I felt love. Like
Mhm.
everybody was hugging you, everybody was kissing you, they were singing, dancing. There's a few maybe nasty flags here and there, but for the most part, there was a lot of love frequency here and a lot of free
Mhm.
loving, as you said, um, in earnest. And I didn't see what the mainstream media were reporting about all these terrorists and these Ku Klux Klan and these white supremacists and the kitchen sink they threw everything at us. Really, to me, I saw a lot of nice families, kids, bouncy castles, and again, a lot of love. But what I'm seeing now is the energy has shifted quite a bit here.
Yes.
And as you're seeing
Yeah.
here, it was very negative. And I'm wondering to what extent, as a representation of people understanding even more now, perhaps what's been done to them in the last 2 years, or whether or not there's technology being used against them here to crank that fear, to crank that anger in order to set them up. Maybe like January 6th was a big
Right.
setup.
Yeah.
We won't get too much into that. But
Yeah.
do you think there's technologies here at play other than the demonic forces perhaps that are attached to these peoples, to some of these
Hmm.
buildings that somebody was suggesting in the chat here too? Do you think
Hmm.
there's technology involved here too to crank up that
Definitely.
that fear, that anger, that vitriol that we're seeing there too? It's not
Yeah.
just
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah.
and that could actually make sense as to why I was freaking out, because I was freaking out. I was yelling, I was swearing, like, I was going crazy, and naturally, I am not like that.
That's not
I'm
you.
really no, that's not me.
Yeah.
So, you just made me realize that that could maybe be part of why, and people that I'd seen at other freedom things, like, we were freaking the F out. So, there could have been something being directed towards us to make us even more angry, but also, in the astrology, and this is something I've been saying in been trying to share with everyone one-on-one in consultations, and I think Julie and I touched on it in our recent Astro Decode of 2023, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about as 2023 goes on. A really big energy for this year is Aries.
Mm-hmm.
And Aries rules anger and frustration, and this is going to be coming up for, I think, all of us, and particularly, the ones that did get something injected that
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're regretting it, right? And so we need to translate that. We need to work with those wounds and heal it,
Mm-hmm.
and not and be very, and I'm actually feeling this so strong. We need to be very aware of the situations and events we are putting ourselves in during this time of healing those emotions, which is going to
Yeah.
be this whole next year. Jupiter, Aries, we've got that right now until May 15th, I think. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's a positive planet, but it expands whatever sign it's in. So it expands all the qualities of Aries, which
Wow.
is potential for conflict, potential for violence, potential, anger, frustration. So we need to be aware of that. And we need to be working on this, and we need to be calling each other out if we notice someone maybe struggling a little bit, like you said to me that night, you were like, Meg, this isn't like in alignment with you. And it was like,
Right.
yeah, that's right. Like, yeah, I feel weird right now.
Yeah.
So that's that shadow work too with each other. We need to be honest with each other and authentic with each other. If someone needs to be told, your energy is a little bit wonky, you seem upset. Do you need to talk? Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
talk to me? Or when's the last time you had an energy healing? Or when's the last time you meditated? When's the last time you went outside into nature and just
Mm-hmm.
hugged a tree and just connected to the earth?
Yeah.
Right? It's so important right now.
Jenny is saying it. I'm getting goosebumps. I am too, because I'm looking at that footage and I just found one clip that I want to play here. But before I do that, and it set the tone for that whole time I was there. But going back to what you're saying now too, to be honest, I was uncomfortable um, sharing, I guess, some of my insights and maybe some of my
Yeah.
advice with you that night, because I realized, well, you and I have known each other now for a short period of time, and
Mhm.
I said, I think we have a great collaboration. Our audience absolutely loves you, and then I didn't want to come off as who's this guy telling me how to think or how to act. Not
Yeah.
that I did it in that way, but still, like I just felt that for your energy, I needed to say what I needed to say,
Yeah.
even though it was difficult for me to tell you that. I
Yeah.
just wanted to share that now. I didn't tell you that on Tuesday night, but hearing you now, I realized, okay, it didn't fall on deaf ears,
No.
and you didn't come back to me. It was like, how dare you, or
Yeah.
whatever. You kind of like, oh no, you're right. Like we're at this together here. Like we're all looking for the same thing. We want to hit the love frequency here, and we want to be on mission, and we want to be striking at the root of the tree and not the
Mhm.
branches of the tree. Well, I keep saying we'll
Right.
get to that in a second. We still have some time. Don't worry, we'll get to that there. But what do you make of that here too? Because you said that something to me before the show. Like we have to call each other out on our shit.
Yeah.
What did you make first of all of that interaction with me on that Tuesday night, and then moving forward also with maybe other friends and family members here, where you're going to be placed in that same position to
Mhm.
delicately say things that might be difficult for other people to hear as they are in the process of processing their emotions, so to speak. how did you manage that?
Yeah, well, the truth is, when someone comes at you, like when you message me and you did it in a nice way, you didn't do it in a negative way at all, it triggers you, triggers your ego,
Yeah.
triggers your inner child. And it's like your inner child goes, oh, shit, I've been seen. I've been seen. My vulnerability has been seen.
Yeah.
My wound has been seen. My fear has been seen. And so I felt a little bit embarrassed and not really triggered, but just embarrassed. My inner child felt embarrassed because I had just spent, hours like in this very angry vibe, and I wasn't aware how much anger I am actually carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm noticing that as a theme with people right now is if you, and maybe you are someone you're listening and you're like, well, this doesn't resonate with me because I've been doing shadow work this entire time, then that's great. But I think most of us have not, because it's just been trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma,
Yeah.
And so we really need to make time for, I feel so strong. Like, I think sharing circles is something that would be a great thing for right now. If you're someone who is looking for something to do, I don't really think it matters what sign you are or what north node you are. Like, we're coming into this collective frequency of Aquarius and Aquarian living, which is community. We need to be having authentic communal conversations with each other and supporting each other in non-judgment, and not in a place where, have you ever been to a sharing circle,
Oh
JC?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, usually one of the protocols with that is you're not there to fix
Stick
people.
around. Oh, that too. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, yeah. Passing the
Yeah.
stick. You're
Yeah.
not there to fix people. It's just a place for you to be heard
Cold
and
space. Right?
supported.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I feel like that's such an important thing right now. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's important to be honest with each other because we're gonna get triggered. We're gonna say stupid stuff. So I've been telling my inner child ever since, I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday night, like little Meg, and I love to do inner child work.
Yeah.
It's one of my ways of doing shadow work, is connecting with my inner child. I've just been saying, little Meg, it's okay. We've had a really, and I know it sounds a little bit crazy, right? But it's like, you've had a really hard past few years, actually, because you couldn't get back into Canada, right? Because that's the truth. I cried almost every single day because I couldn't be in Canada. So it's okay. You're angry. That's okay. You said F Trudeau a few times. Okay. You banged on that window. Okay. Now we're in this present moment. And you didn't feel good after that. You had a crazy nightmare after that, which I want to share with you guys. And okay, it felt better when you went to those freedom gatherings, right? Where it was just the like-minded people and there were none of the bad guys there. We don't need to be connected with them. They're starving energetically, and let it go. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Wow, I love it. A lot of people are agreeing with you in the chat, and they're profoundly moved by your story. And for me on Tuesday night, like, I saw you and felt you out of balance, and my instinct was, what can I say? What can I do? What words can I bring in the frequency to bring you back in the love frequency? I thought that's what you needed, and I was just trying to be there and share that moment with you. And I appreciate the way you responded to that. And it's just another indication of why you're so good for this Beyond Mystic family, and how you fit right in, and why everybody keeps emailing me about how amazing you are in the one-on-one readings, including Handy. She said, "Hi, Meg. I love my reading with you. Thank you so much." Thank you, Nandy. I appreciate
Hi,
that.
Nandy.
Let me play this clip. I'm not sure it's exactly on point. It could be a minute or two. I don't know. It's not that long. I really want to play
Ottawa?
Yeah, this is from Ottawa. And this person melted my heart. And in the same way that she sent a message in that video, it kind of reminded me of that when I spoke to you on Tuesday. So it's cool that you bring it up. I want to play this. Hopefully the sound is not too bad, because of course it was extremely loud. There were truckers and horns and stuff going on in the background, in case you didn't know. So let's see if we could hear this particular portion of the interview. And I think you'll see, guys, it's very apropos to the conversation tonight. I gotta see how we can play this.
Yeah.
Tara Cox. Yeah. Where are you from, Tara?
I'm from Parry Sound, Ontario.
Parry Sound?
Yeah.
And why are you here today?
I'm here because I love people that love freedom, and I think it's important that we come and have our voices heard. No one's asking us, and we're hurting from this. I have friends that are in danger of losing their jobs because they won't take a vaccine. I'm like, what even country do we live in?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, was she asking about the tarot?
Oh, she did a tarot.
You did a tarot. Tell us. Okay. So,
I did.
do you know Janine from Sending Ravens and Tarot by Janine?
Oh, I wish I did, but I don't.
Okay. Well, let's hear about it.
Well, I was nervous setting out on this. I've been home for 2 years, and I heard the world doesn't like the unvaccinated. So I did a short tarot, just a past, present, future, and it was really good. The future was the 6 of Wands, so that's triumph, man.
Yeah.
That's triumph.
It is.
And the present was the Page of Wands, so that's like transformation energy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm good.
You're excited about the future then.
I am.
And what would you say to your fellow Canadians who are listening to you today about that Canadian spirit, that energy we're feeling in the air today? How do you send that energy through the airways? What would you tell them?
I would say if you could just feel the love that was here, you wouldn't feel the fear anymore.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so
Wow.
much. Have a great day. Wow, that's it. Feel the love. You won't feel
Oh
the
my gosh.
Right?
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
Love it.
I have full body shivers right now. And of course, I gave that lady a hug and it was just amazing. But again, that was the energy really of the Freedom Convoy. And I think it's very possible they're trying to use that in an alchemical way to transform it into the anger and fear that we're seeing now. And we have to resist that and go back to that frequency. Tara Cox, I believe her name was, if you're watching, I remember you very, very much. It struck me profoundly. Anyways, so guys, if you like that clip, give me some love in the chat here. But you can go and check the full interview there. It was absolutely amazing those years. Those 2 weeks there reporting from Ottawa in minus 30, 40 temperatures. It wasn't oh my God, our batteries were dying within 30 minutes. I had all of these batteries. It was just impossible to do. But still, we were able to put out the news, the real news, even though the people who are being paid millions of dollars by the Canadian government were nowhere to be found, speaking no truth, of course. So yeah, all right, we're getting a lot of love in the chat. Okay, do you want me to talk about here the Doreen Dautin video?
Oh, sure.
Is this a good point here? Okay, so let me see if we can bring that up on the channel for you guys here. Hold on a second. I shared this, yes, in the video yesterday or the day before. Where did it go now? Okay, this one here. I'm just going to bring it up. I think we're almost running out of time. It's already 1 o'clock. Let me bring the link down. It's a 15-minute video. I don't have time to play it all. But essentially, she's saying here, she was looking at these reporters that were making the bad guys do this walk of shame in Davos. And she says, are these guys at the WEF giving you the creeps? And she went on to say something to the effect that every attempt at trying to bring clarity and to bring freedom back and honesty back are all very worthy, but they're not all necessarily effective. And what she meant by that is, for every 1,000 who hit at the branches, there's only one person that comes up and hits at the root. And she says, really right now, we should all be focusing on hitting the root. And for a lot of people, they said, well, what is the root? What are you talking about? If it's not the WEFers, well, who's the root? And people took offense to some of these videos and her views because she said, well, the root is you. And so if you don't fix you and you don't do that own shadow work, everything you're seeing outside is a representation of the things you haven't fixed within. Meg.
Wow. Totally agree. I mean, she says it so well. So yeah, I agree with everything she said in that video.
And you know what's interesting? When I talked about this in the Ghost interview, we had a lot of people in the live chat. There was different I guess viewers from different channels for that episode. And a lot of people took offense to this video saying how divisive this person was. And I'm like, why is she divisive? Other than perhaps, again, there was this misdirected anger coming up here because she might have been shattering their worldview where maybe they're expecting external saviors to fix all of this. Maybe they're expecting the white hats or Trump to fix all of this. She went on to talk about Elon Musk and Trump and how they kind of got their hands tied behind their back in the last couple of years, trying maybe as best they could. But maybe they were really also hitting at the branches as opposed to the root. And she's like really pointing the finger back at herself. So essentially, as a viewer, you have to realize that, oh yeah, we have to put the finger back at ourselves and look at some of those still unresolved shadow issues. And
Mhm.
let's talk about the fear of that, Meg, while we're on. I want to take a few more minutes here and,
Yeah.
and go along if you have the energy.
Yeah.
Part of doing that shadow work, eventually you hit that core wound.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, the very idea of contemplating or being quiet enough to hear and see the core wound is very, very difficult. And this is where automatically a self-defense mechanism kicks in, and they make busy again. They go to work, they listen to music, they turn on the TV, they do everything they can not to face the core wound. What do you say to people here who perhaps are right now here faced with the core wound? They've had these last 2 years of, even though it was problematic and stressful, it was also a catalyst for change, and it was also a catalyst to go within and to be the hermit in the tarot cards, right? To shed that light within. What do you say to those people here who are still on that verge, who maybe took the first layers off of the onion, and now they're looking at the core wound and are like, "Ooh, fuck this shit, man! I want to go back. Let's go party here. Let's go back to Mexico or something." The travel restrictions are lifted. What do you say to them right now? And in context with what Doreen is telling us here, we're at the 11th hour and there's no cavalry. We are the cavalry.
We are.
How do you follow through on that, Meg?
You know, I think we talked last time about how I do believe that we're in World War III. I hope that's okay for me to say on YouTube, right? World War III.
No.
No, it's really?
Sure.
Okay.
As long as you don't mention the countries involved in the other area of the world, that's the truth.
Right. Yeah. So we are like in this great war, right? This great division. And a difference between the other world wars and this one is I think we're in more of a psychological war. And so it's not boots on the ground physical. So we have time to actually retreat and do self-care. And I know this is so much easier said than done. And I'm someone that I have like ADD and I have a really hard time meditating and making that time to just be in silence or reflect, and do the self-care. So as I'm saying this to you guys, I'm saying this to myself as well. We need to have some sort of maintenance self-care schedule with ourselves to go into retreat mode, even if it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, whether through meditation or intuitive dancing or going into nature, whatever it is, to tune into how am I actually feeling. Also, what Sophie kind of shared in the Divine Feminine Oracle video you guys did.
Oh, that's the Thursday show. That's different.
Right. Where she was talking about tuning into your body. Yeah. So I just thought of that now and didn't realize that she said that too until it started coming out of my mouth. She was talking about, maybe you want to set on your phone an alarm to once or twice a day, tuning into your body, feeling what you're holding tight, that's stress. We need to be doing constant maintenance during this time to get through it as effortlessly as possible. And none of us are perfect. We're not perfect. It's okay. But just when you remember to do some sort of self-healing work. For me, I love inner child meditations. I love dancing. I love shaking, releasing energy through shaking. Like Libby just put up here, crank up the music and dance. We release so much energy physically. Yeah. And with all the Aries influence now, that's the physical body and physical assertion. So, punching a punching bag or, letting our anger out somehow. We got to let it out. And I just pulled some cards for us. Okay. With everything that we're talking about. I just asked while you were playing, I think the Freedom Convoy video, what spirit, how can we get through this kind of ocean of emotions, if you will, that we're going to be going through now and in the upcoming year with the anger and the frustration coming up. And the first card, and this is from the Archetype cards, by Carolyn Miss. These are really cool cards with archetypes. We got the Advocate. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Advocate, which I think a lot of us, a part of this community, definitely have this archetype that we're working with.
Yeah.
Okay. So the light attribute on the card says inspires you to put compassion into action. Okay. So that advocate archetype is you're passionate about a cause, you're passionate about a value, and to share it out into the world through your expression, through who you are, through actually doing it, not just talking about it or sharing it. You know, on our stories, a lot of us do that. We just share stuff, but don't actually do it. Right. And then the shadow attribute of the advocate is embracing negative causes or committing to causes for personal gain. So for me, for example, with Justin Castro, did I really need to go see him in person? No, that was like somehow for my own personal gain that I wanted to go do that. Right. So yeah. And then a negative cause as well, embracing negative causes can be that vibration of, yeah, screw them, F them, let's bang on the windows. That's just the fear vibration that they want to feed off of. So no. And then the animal guardian, we got animal guardian from the, let me show you guys this, Angels and Ancestors deck by Kyle Gray. This is another really cool deck.
Wow.
Very shamanic, very cool. Animal guardian, trust your instincts. So what I really actually feel from this is a lot of people's primal instincts and emotions are going to be coming up. Primal, like, you know, what are we doing to the children? What did I just do to myself?
Right.
What did you not tell me that could have protected me? Right? This is all primal survival instincts. So I think we have a lot of work to do still. But we can make it fun.
I think so too. And of course, coming together makes it all maybe more possible. I don't want to say easier, but maybe easier. Hopefully supporting. First of all, a big thank you to all of you in the community here tonight in the chat, supporting each other. I love it. And that's what this community is all about, really. I started it out just wanting to do my part and understand the world around me and bring intelligent and thoughtful people who didn't agree with me. I've been doing that for 3 years now on the channel. This is the third iteration of the channel, and it's grown to something really, really cool, and it keeps growing. And what I'm most proud of is the community. And every time I got deleted, by the way, Meg, I don't know if I told you this, but I had tarots and remote viewers look at it, and they all said, yeah, you say some bad words once in there, but really you're trying to abide by the censorship rules. What really they didn't like is the accumulation or the concentration of the people in the chat when they come together. That's why, again, those meditations are going to be so very, very powerful. And I'm very excited to see what the output of that is going to be here for our collective. Guys, if you're just joining us now and tuning in, please do go and check out. Let me see if I can bring this up. How come I'm getting what's that going on? At the stream, yeah. Oh, there you go. I don't know what's happening there. Yes, please do go check out Maison Jupiter here for the full moon singing bowl meditation. This is going to be for February 1st. You can register now your spot. And yeah, you can use the sliding scale donation there to contribute to the energy exchange there and all of the beautiful products that Julie and Elena are creating there on Maison Jupiter. Ascension Organites is there also. Hey guys, we talked about how it's difficult for some people to meditate. Sometimes it helps at the beginning to maybe have some tools, maybe crutches. Maybe people want to have talismans or reminders of their ancestors with them. A cool thing that Carla creates, if you haven't seen these already, are these amazing orgonite pyramids. And each of them are created with a specific intention in mind using different crystals, and they bring different attributes. And so for some of you, these could be an ideal companion to your meditation grids and circles. So let's see the one we have here from Carla that we will be giving away here to some of our lucky supporters. So let's see what Carla has to say about this one.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing amazing. I'm Carla from Ascension Organites, and today I have a special edition piece to show you. This is for the winter season. So I was compelled to create this piece. It is meant to help us go through the winter months and help us get ready for spring and manifesting new beginnings. This piece is made of opalite, moonstone, white quartz, howlite, aluminum metals, crushed white brass, and silver flakes here at the top. It also has the tetrahedron symbol on the 3 sides. It is a hexagonal pyramid. I'll give it a quick turn so you can see it.
Wow.
And that's the special edition piece for winter. I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Do I love it? I love this one, actually.
That is so cool.
Guys, if you want to get one of these in your own possession, please go to ascensionorganites.com. And if you use the coupon code BeyondMystic, there you'll get an extra 10% off of all of these amazing creations. I have this one too, Sandra. Wow, this is a crazy one too. Dude, I could have every pyramid in her collection and I still wouldn't have enough for every room in my house. Absolutely love it. AscensionOrganites.com, guys. And a big thank you to you, Carla. And Kimberly says, wow, hexagonal. Yeah, I think this is the 3rd one she does in these designs. They're really, really cool. I like them too. At first, I wasn't sure, but nah, actually, I have 2 and I love the energy. I really like them. So yeah, go check them out. I love Meg's style. And JC, you play off each other so well. Well, thank you so much. It very much feels, Meg, that you and I have done this before, perhaps in a past life. What do you think about that?
Past life, yes, definitely.
You want to pull cards on that? Maybe we could do that after the show.
Yeah,
just in case.
Yeah.
Let's end on this, Meg. We're at an hour 14.
Mm-hmm.
We had suggested here as we're going to talk about some weird stuff here tonight. I know tomorrow is the meditation with. Elena, and you can find that on the YouTube channel. But for tonight, do you want to do a clearing? Do you want to do a type of clearing?
Yeah,
a little bit of meditation here to kind of maybe clear some of those dark arts that might be at play here, mucking around with our energies, trying to pit us once against each other here. Like, what can we do? What do you have in mind? You want to do a visualization? What do you think would work best?
Yeah, I think we can do like a visualization, little meditation. Yeah.
Okay, audience members, you guys want to participate in that? Give me a yes in the live chat if you think that's pretty cool. And while I look for those yeses, a lot of them in the live chat, we're bring up here again the link for tomorrow. You guys are looking for this particular video here, the Beyond Harmony weekly meditation with Elena. And of course, if you're new to all this and you're kind of just found this channel, don't forget also to look at the trifecta here of the Divine Feminine Oracles during the week. Here we have the Beyond Astro on Wednesday at noon with our lovely Meg. We have the Beyond Reality Oracle show with Solretta on Tuesdays at noon. And of course, we have Sophie, who's in the chat now. Hello, Sophie. J'espère que tu vas bien. For the Beyond Tarot weekly forecast on Mondays at noon. And you can find also Sophie on the Maison Jupiter YouTube channel for her Pick a Card series. These are really, really cool. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out and make sure to subscribe there also and not miss the next Astro Decode with Julie and Meg. Okay, so I see a lot of yes in the live chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting us in this endeavor. Meg, what do we need to get started? First of all, let us know. Do you want to do like a 5-minute, 10-minute, just so people know what to expect here?
5-minute, 10-minute,
Okay.
In between there. Yeah.
And what do we need to know? What do we expect here as we close our eyes and we listen to you? What are we focusing on?
I'm really feeling what's coming through is forces and family of light. Our family of light coming forward, pure love and light frequency, the angelic realm, our star family, the highest beings that work with us are actually coming forward to those of us that are open now and wanting us to just hand over any of the dark arts frequency.
Hold on a second. Hold that thought. I just realized that before we do a clearing, we never got to hear your dream. And I'm thinking maybe the dream is going to need clearing. So
okay, yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So okay. Hold on, folks. Stop the press. Hold on.
Yeah.
Don't meditate just now. Okay, Meg. Let's do a first quick segment here on the dream, how it relates to all of this, and then yes, we'll apply the clearing to that as well. Go ahead. What happened?
Okay, so I had a dream when I got home from Hamilton. I was feeling weird, and then I went to bed. And I don't know about you guys, but I have very vivid dreams where I might not remember all of it when I wake up. But if I do, it's usually very significant. So what I do remember is that I astral projected or lucid dreamed rather, because some of us are natural lucid dreamers. So those of us who are actually traveling two places on the planet in our dreams that are real, but we don't put the conscious awareness to do that before bed, which would be astral traveling. We're lucid dreaming. We're natural lucid dreamers. So I do that a lot. And I'm always really tired by the end of the day. So most of the time I forget to like protect myself. Okay. Which some of my teachers give me shit for, because then sometimes I'll have really weird dreams. But anyways, I dreamt that I was inside the Sheraton Hotel, and in the conference room of the Sheraton Hotel, Justin, Castro, Trudeau, and the whole Liberal Party were all dressed in red. And they were all standing around a table. And I got chills when I even say this. It was so weird.
Creepy.
And they were all wearing red. And they were talking about something. And me and my best friend, Sunny, who came to Hamilton with me, we were watching. A door was open and we were astrally watching what was going on. And then when they were finished, whatever they were doing, meeting, whatever they were doing, they all stood up at the exact same time and started doing these hand gestures to each other to like close the energy of whatever they had just did. And you know how in Freemasonry or stuff, they have those weird hand gestures that they do?
Oh,
Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Sometimes they do those weird things, right?
Yeah.
Which is actually inverting power stances. Okay, because ever since ancient Egypt, actually probably even before that, but a really big part of ancient Egypt and their statues is their power stances. Okay, they're always in these like going like this or going like this or going like this. They're in these power stances that give them energy and chi and connect them to the universal forces of wisdom. It's very interesting, guys. Look up ancient Egyptian statues and the gods. They're always in these very interesting stances. Okay.
Did you read the book by Jason Quitt? He's from Toronto. Egyptian
That's that guy.
posture.
Yeah.
Egyptian postures of power.
Postures.
Yeah.
I wonder if he has a website, because I met him at an expo.
Yeah, and I have his book here somewhere.
He specializes in that. Yeah.
He's been on the show.
So,
I love Jason.
You've had him on the show? Oh my God.
Yeah,
awesome.
He's really cool.
Yeah.
What's
his name?
Jason Quitt.
Jason Quitt. Okay. Yeah. So
I'll bring up his website. Keep
bring up
talking.
it. Yeah. It's fascinating because it's actually really powerful. The positions of what our hands are doing, what our body is doing, how we're sitting, how we're holding ourselves, it's all energy, right? So yeah, the ancient Egyptians did that a lot. So anyways, in my dream, they finished this meeting in the conference room of the Sheraton, and they did all these weird hand gestures. And as soon as I saw that, I woke up in the dream and I heard my guides like shouting at me, "Get out, you should not be here." And then I don't know if you guys ever have this, but in my dream, I was like, okay, I went too far. Oh my God, maybe should have gone to Hamilton. Oh my God. And then I started walking through the Sheraton Hotel to go down to the basement and in the car and drove away. But it was so strong. I think they actually did that. And I was looking in. And it was very just
good thing you put that out there before we do the clearing.
Yeah, before I did that. Yeah. So a big part of the dark arts is they invert everything.
Yeah.
They're trying to invert everything. So also with the freedom groups, sorry.
Keep going.
Oh, I was just going to say with our beautiful convoy gatherings and freedom gatherings, we can't let them invert this. Okay, because it's such a beautiful frequency, like you and that woman, I forget her name, sorry, in the video talking about, right? We need to keep it pure, and we don't need to get these guys involved in our gatherings. No. We don't need to make it about them. We need to make it about us and the future that we're creating. That's what we need to make it about.
Exactly. Let me bring up the book. I just found it here. Egyptian.
That's it. Egyptian power postures.
And this is edition 2, by the way. He's made some changes from the first one. We had this whole interview. I think it's still on this YouTube channel. Oh yeah, it's probably like 5-6 months ago. If you guys go look back, and if you want to find this book, really recommend it. Actually, I still have a lot of cliff notes there. If you can see them, Amazon, Egyptian Postures of Power, really cool book. And his website, he also sells Auralite crystals. If you're interested in that, check him out at thecrystalsun.com. gmail.com. And yeah, Jason, if you're listening, yeah, send me an email. We'll do something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him like 10 years ago at the Toronto Conscious Expo or something, and I
Oh
thought it
yeah,
was
he used to do those
fascinating.
with the crystals and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really cool, fascinating guy. Recently, he had a couple of great series with what's his name, Jimmy Church on Fade to Black. I thought it was
Oh,
called
right. Yeah.
Quitspiracies. I think it was their series title.
Quitspiracy. Yeah.
Quitspiracies. Yeah, go check it out
So cool.
on Fade to Black.
I love that guy. I love
I gotta
Jimmy
do the
Church.
Jimmy Church one. I want to have Jimmy
He has
Church on the
such a
show.
good deep voice and how he talks. It's so awesome.
I was totally gonna do another impression, but now you got me laughing so hard. Okay, so maybe I'll do it later. I'm joking now. Okay, sage,
So-
please. Yes, very dark. Somebody says in the background here. Do you have sage with you? Do you have it?
I do. Let's burn
Okay.
some.
All right.
Oops.
So let's get back to our visualization and our clearing after all of that. And yes, I do apologize for bringing the picture of the eyes wide shut, but when you talked about those red robes, it kind of reminded me of that. Although this one with the coven with the one missing woman there, we had the big decode with Jay Widener on Eyes Wide Shut. If you guys want to see that, go check it out on BeyondMystic. It's on pay-per-view. It was deleted by YouTube, by the way. So it's a really cool series. There was 4 shows in there that I did with Jay Widener on all of these decodes. Okay, lots of love in the chat. We got some sage going.
Got some
All
sage.
right.
We're good.
So let's get back to our visualization and our clearing for this evening.
Yeah, so maybe what we can do is, I don't believe in any coincidences. So maybe what we can do is, whether you guys want to sit or lie down or stand up, whatever position of your personal power, to use Jason Quitt's, term, get into whatever position of power you want to be in. And also maybe we can pick, a pose that you want to be in, and that can be different for all of us. I'm feeling to do this, the hands to the heart prayer position. Maybe you want to put your hands on a certain part of your body if the information that we've been talking about is really feeling, intense for you in a certain part of your body, right? On one of the chakras. So just noticing what kind of position you want to be in, sitting, standing, lying down, and what you want to do with your hands. Okay.
So I was gonna pick a position from the book, but there's so many good ones, and some are hard to do if you're sitting down or whatever. So maybe we'll have Jason come back. And another time.
Yeah, it's coming up for a reason. Yeah. Okay. So we'll get into whatever position we feel to get in, and we'll just start taking a few deep breaths together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And trying to make a sound when you exhale. Which relaxes the body. Brings us into the present moment. And just noticing your body in whatever position it is in. Breathing in love and light into your whole body from head to toe a few times. And if it resonates with you, to say out loud, I call my family of light, my star family of light, and my soul appointed angels of light to surround me now. I call upon my family of light, my star family of light, and my soul appointed angels to surround me now. And just feeling those beautiful beings and energies of light surrounding you now. And their vibration, whether you can see it or feel it or knowing that it's there, That beautiful energy vibration creates a whole circle, egg around you in the space that you're in, of bright golden light. The whole space that you're in filled with bright golden light. Breathing into it. And we give permission to the beautiful star family, angels, soul family of light that surrounds us. We give permission for you to remove from our fields all programs, all contracts, all vows, all attachments, all energies that we have accumulated at this time on our Earth's journey from any Ahrimanic forces, Luciferian impulse forces, reptilian forces. We give permission for this beautiful golden light energy all around us that is piercing in how high of a vibration it is, to effortlessly remove and transmute any contracts, any vows, any attachments, any programs from those forces, removing them now. And breathing in forgiveness and love to all aspects of ourselves now. Thank you, family of light, for being with us. We ask that you fill us fully with this golden frequency of high vibrational healing and uplifting energy. Thank you for filling us with joy. Thank you for filling us with inspiration. Thank you for all the blessings in our life. Thank you for the gift that it is to be here at this time in a body now. Thank you for our beautiful collective soul family. And please keep us in this high vibration as we exit this space. And please assist us in no longer engaging with these darker forces. Please guide us in all ways for our highest good. Please keep us in the light. And we are in alignment with the highest timeline available now. Thank you for supporting us. We release you now. Thank you. And so just taking a few moments to breathe back into your body, and we call all our energy back to us now as we take a few breaths back into our bodies. We call back all our energy. We call back all our joy. We call back all parts of ourselves that have ever been given away or left behind at any time or in any space, in any place. And just breathing back and opening your eyes whenever you feel ready.
Welcome back, Fadernauts. I'm Jimmy Church, and this is Fade to Black. I was trying not to
Oh
laugh.
my God.
Perfect end to
That is
visualization.
perfect.
Bring the energy up and giggles and laugh.
Yeah, that is so perfect.
Okay. Or not. Oh, I love it. Okay. First of all, Meg, yes, as Rocky Gaming is saying, Meg is a real deal. I totally agree. That was amazing. It felt goosebumps all through that. It felt really good. Thank you, Meg. And Sophie says, yes, amazing. Thank you so much. Merci, Sophie, d'être là encore and to support us in the show today. I really love you too. Meg, before we go, man, we're already at an hour 30-minute mark.
Crazy,
What's going on with the bookings here? There's a few people in the chat saying, hey, I want to book with Meg. What's the schedule looking like right now, and what products do you offer for the people who might be hearing you for the first time and who might be interested in getting a little bit more insights as to how astrology might affect their lives here and how they can use those energies to reach for the higher versions of themselves?
Yeah, so right now I'm offering birth chart readings and 1-year personal forecasts. And the birth chart is really good for us to get in alignment with our purpose, the map, the key as to why we've come here, what our natural strengths are, what some of our challenges are that we're here to work on, to not, spiritually bypass, but face some of that shadow work stuff, really get us in alignment. And then the 1-year personal forecast is looking at our year ahead, what the themes are, what the natural focuses are going to be. And it's kind of like the weather. It's kind of like if you know that it's going to be sunny in this area of life, you want to be focusing on the sun part. You don't want to be focusing on the parts where, it's dark and it's nighttime and there's not a lot going on. So we look at where are the areas of focus, where can you manifest, where can you create the easiest. And we have availability now starting in April. I think for the birth chart readings, and the 1 year, I think availability is starting in May. And I'm really grateful for everyone that's booked so far. So I know it's like a couple of months ahead or a few months ahead, but it's really important information, the astrology.
And definitely really worth it. And I wanted to thank you also, Meg, because I know you're working like all day long and crazy hours here doing all of the bookings. There's a lot of demand for your time. And I wanted to thank you also for suggesting that you would carve out a little bit more time still here so that we can create some of these priority bookings for people who want to maybe have a quicker reading for you guys, as similar to what we do here with Sophie with the priority bookings in her tarot reading consultations as well. So soon we'll be coming up with that. Just bear with us here. There's a lot of changes on the schedule, and I know Julie is hard at work with all of these amazing changes and new products coming up and new free shows on YouTube, both on Maison Jupiter and on YouTube. So bear with us. We're going through all of these amazing growing pains together, and we're so happy to have all of you here in the family, the Beyond Mystic family, and everybody in the chat here supporting us. You guys are amazing, and you make it possible for us to be on the screen here doing this on a daily basis, even though we are also individually and collectively going through some of that shadow work and facing some of those core wounds and the difficulties that come with the wartime scenario we were describing earlier tonight. So a big thank you to all of you. A big thank you for all the love in the chat. Of course, last but not least, you can find Elena for the monthly meditation here, also on Beyond Mystic, and you can find the booking consultation page there as well. And if you use Beyond Mystic as the coupon code for Meg's consultation, you'll get an extra 10% off on these here as well. I'm Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic, and this was, where did it go? This was, yes, Destiny with Meg Moonbeam. Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Au revoir.
Bye, everyone.